Hey, welcome to That Minis Paint Show. I'm Reed. Today we're going to be painting orcs. Today we're at part 3, orcs, and we're going to be working on leather pouches, leather, teeth, and claws. So hopefully you guys are excited today to finish this off on this batch of orcs. If we have some time, we'll try to work on some other orcs that we have here, particularly stone weapons, but we'll see how far we get today. So with that, we have our paint table set up. Should be working pretty good. Hopefully you guys can see everything okay, and if you can't, just let me know in chat. I'll be excited to have everybody on and see where we're going with that. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to ask. I'm here to answer them as best I can. So let's see how sound is. Music is a little on the loud side. You guys can hear that okay? Okay. Big thank you to Tabletop Audio for providing the sound tonight. Kind of excited to listen to some of these tunes as we go in. They produce a whole bunch of sounds and music for tabletop games. If you haven't checked them out, be sure to do so at tabletopaudio.com. So, let's see here. So, when we last left off, we painted the bone on the miniature here, the bone jaws, just to get a nice good look on them. But we also wanted to make sure we got the bone to really have a little bit of weathering on it. So we're going to hit it with some soft tone wash, just to pull out some of the detail, let some of the recesses show a little more, and to weather the teeth just a smidge. I may make the teeth themselves just a bit whiter, and then the teeth on the orc itself, I'll have a nice yellowed look. Probably put some red and purples in there for the mouth itself as well. Some of the colors I'll go with typically are, that's a little, there we go. We're going to work with Mars Red, Pixie Pink, and Warlock Purple for the mouth. We're going to use Soft Tone for the recesses on the jaws and some of the leather itself. And then we also have Skeleton Bone and Banshee Brown for the bones itself. And I believe we may use a little bit of Basilisk Brown for some of the pouches, as well as some of the aged stuff on the teeth themselves with Sulfide Ochre. Again, with some soft tone to really bring it out. Just one of those things that really makes painting easy is washes. So let's get started. I'm going to pull out my Regiment brush from the Army Painter. It's a nice full brush, one of my favorites. Let's see here, taking a look here. I think the first thing we're going to do is work on these pouches. So again, Basilisk Brown for this should work out okay. Let's give it a good shake real quick. Excellent. Came out beautifully. All right. And again, we want the thickness of melted ice cream, the consistency of melted ice cream. So I'm teasing it around a little bit. I've already got some water on the brush, so that should get me to where I need to be. Alrighty. So what I'm going to work on is these pouches here to the rear of the model. I don't know if you guys can see that okay here. Point them out a little more. A little more to the rear of the model here, and this scabbard. And then I'm going to hit with soft tone to kind of bring it down a notch. I want to be careful not to get any on the leather skin that looks like a kilt, because I wanted to keep that a nice leathery look for that particular model. And I also don't want to put any on the hilt of the handle. And remember, too thin coats, it's better to go thin than thick. So I can, if I have a little dark brown bleed through, that's fine. I can always go back over it with another coat, and that'll cover it right up. See how it gets right in there. Beautiful look. And the reason I'm going with a slightly lighter color is that it provides a nicer contrast to some of the other colors that we've got going on with the greens and stuff. If you look at the color wheel, it'll provide some of that contrast. And the thing about this particular shade of Basilisk Brown is that it's just got a hint of orange to it, which I like. But when you hit it with the soft tone, it leathers it up a little bit as a lighter, less oiled leather look, which, you know, let's face it, most of these guys would have a raw leathery look. I don't know how much in, you know, fashion sense Orcs would really have when it comes to leather, and I think this provides a really nice look. Hopefully you agree. Again, I'm going with thin coats. I'll hit pouches again with another thin coat if it feels that I need some more color on it. It looks like I'm probably going to need to do that. And again, I move the model to the brush to make it easier to put the brush to the model, not the other way around. You'll find you have better brush control. You'll find that that will actually provide you a great deal more satisfaction and a little less fatigue as you're painting your models as well. So it's one of the things to consider. If you're into Orcs, one of the things to know is that they like to steal things off other people if they can, and it wouldn't be unheard of to have them take the weapons off the other creatures that they fight or the equipment from them to use it as well. So if you wanted to, you could make some of these pouches look like the same pouches off of dwarves or other heroes and still get a nice effect. This is just the way I'm doing it for this particular model. And now that the front has dried just a smidge, I'm just going to add a little more color. Knowing that a wash is going to tone this orange down just a smidge. So it's okay to brighten her up just a bit. All right. Get you guys a better view here. All right. just get the belt a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. Next up, we're going to get the rest of these and get them set up here. So let's just get them going. Music is jamming. You can see where I got a little bit of bleach bone on this pouch, and it's okay because we can go right over it with this color and no one will see it. Paint does hide all mistakes. You make one mistake in an area, that's okay. You can go back over it and hide it later and make the model flawless. And the big thing about this particular color is it's going to add that little bit of contrast to the green skin on the orc itself. It's going to provide a nice little pop that visually will really take it to the next, level for a color scheme here. Hey Janzum, good to see you on stream today. I'm applying a Basilisk Brown from the Army Painter. It's a nice yellowy orange color. I'm actually going a little bit brighter. And then from there it will be toned down with a little bit of soft tone, which is kind of like a chestnut brown. That'll sink into the recesses and pull out some of the detail. So hopefully you guys are excited here. Alright, and you can see, I'm going to hit this one more time with a little more color. And you can see that contrast to the green, and it really pops. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. I'll put this down briefly. You guys see that okay? All right. A little fuzzy but nice. How about now? And more importantly, see the difference? Which reminds me, I gotta catch this a little bit here. Alrighty. Yeah, they're really tight. We're really excited about how well this has worked out color-wise. And the miniatures are just an absolute treat to paint. We've had nothing but joy from these. I've been painting one of the leaders on the side after stream. I don't know if you guys watched, but we put out on Twitter not that long ago some of the other miniatures we've been painting. The Warlock. We put out the Halfling Rogue that was painted by Mac, and then we put out the Traveling Acolyte of God that was painted by Rob on one of our other shows, just to kind of show off what we did on stream one night. And just a smidge of water in here. And if this is your first time joining us, thanks. Please be sure and hit the follow button. It costs nothing, and it helps us, see support for the show. And also make sure that you get notified when we're going live, so you don't miss any of the painting action. Oh yeah, these pouches are coming out nicely. Again, the color I'm using is Basilisk Brown. It's got a hint of orange to it, which is exactly the color we kind of wanted to get, a little yellowy orange that contrasts with the green skin on the Orcs, so it'll show off really well. agar cover one more time, and go back and hit the pouches one more time. So they've mostly dried, so we're adding just another layer of color, which will cover up any of the thin spots where there's brown. There we go. It's 3 down, 3 to go. We're making a lot of progress here today. So these are actually getting pumped out pretty quickly in terms of the pouches and stuff. I'm actually pretty impressed. We may even do a little extra work on the rust that are on these weapons here. So these pouches are coming in nicely. Oops. Whoa. Oh man. There we go. And a little smidge more here. Now a little bit more on the pouches. Great part about the pouches are once you've got the first coat on, the second coat goes on even faster, because all you're trying to do is just get the color to show at that point and not over paint anything that you're not supposed to. So it's pretty simple. Done. 2 more to go. And we're going to be moving on to teeth and the mouths, and I'll probably do the mouths first, the inside of the mouths, and then I'll work on the teeth. It's easier to work it up that way than to try to get the teeth and then try to get inside those mouths. These particular Orcs are really good because the way the mouths are shaped, you can get in there and yet they still look hungry as can be. I would not want to meet one of these guys in a dark alley, I'll put it that way. So, again, oranges for the pouches. They contrast nicely with the skin. And you'll see, I'll show one that hasn't been done here shortly, next to one that has, so you can see the color difference versus the green skin and why it makes such an impact. Oh man, I love painting orcs. I'm going to give a shout out to Corey and his wife. Corey is on our show, The Velkin Weave, which airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And he and his wife are celebrating their wedding anniversary today, so congratulations to them. I hope that they, I'm hoping that they're not watching this show. Thanks to everything going on in the world right now, he invited us all to celebrate their wedding anniversary at our own homes so that we wouldn't get anyone else sick. I thought that was very thoughtful. Alrighty. Yeah. Well, his boost supply does stay higher because we're not there, especially our group. So, I may need to pull out some more paint. Looks like I'm running low. Exciting as this is. Okay. So I've got one more to go, but before I start it, just so you guys can see the difference in the impact. This is one without, and this is one with. And the impact color-wise, when you see a finished product, is huge. It just... The color difference, especially with the green skin of the Orcs, it really provides a nice pop to the model. So you can see the rusted swords a little bit too. What you can also do is with this same color you can create a mottled effect with a stippling brush to create a little more oxidation on the metal itself to create that effect. I don't know that I'm going to do that today, but and I see that Anna is complaining that she might have to face Orcs, but you know what? Adventurers weren't meant to sit happily in their cabins. They were meant to go find adventure. And sometimes Orcs are a part of that. So, cheers. We'll see if that happens. On last week Thursday's episode of Whiskey, Magic, and Destruction, 2 of the party were horribly injured and are face down in the dirt. I think one may have been stabilized, another one may not be, after a hobgoblin attack on their escaping wagon caravan that is now stuck and mired in the pit. So the question is, will they escape with their lives? Will they escape with the wagons and their precious cargo? Or will some party member die this Thursday? You can find out this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Whiskey, Magic, and Destruction, only on the Games Tavern Network. Oh, you saw that episode, Johnson. Good. Glad you're watching. It definitely was not good for them. Although it was exciting. It was exciting to watch. I will give them that. The energy level was high for that game. We look forward to raising that bar even further here with future episodes. So. It's kind of hard to be super high energy when you're painting because that tends to lead to mistakes. I don't kill anyone. That's up to the party to put themselves in a situation where they get themselves killed. I'm just telling you what you see. Anyway. can always retire. Since, you know, adventuring is so terrible and scary. Anna's on chat complaining about the possibility of death. I don't taunt anyone. Laugh maniacally in the distance, maybe. But... Alright, so we're going to let that dry for just a moment because we don't want to hit any of the paints with washes while the paint's still drying. Otherwise it'll mix instead of applying the wash, and then the wash effect won't be there and the paint will be messed up and it'll just be a big jumbled mess. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on some of the bone a little bit. So the soft tone that we were going to put on the rest of the models, actually we can hold off just a second longer. We might even be able to highlight some of the bone with skeleton bone now. Yeah, because I believe it was hit with Banshee Brown before. Yeah. Actually, it might be time to go ahead and hit the skin with green tone and see what we can pull out. But you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go straight into the mouths. We talked about it. We said we were going to do it. By golly, we're going to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with a little bit of Mars Red, just to kind of add some red in there, because our mouths tend to be very red. And then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of Warlock Purple. And then if there's any tongue showing, maybe a little bit of Pixie Pink and Warlock Purple in there as well. There we go. The reason I picked Mars Red is it's so bright, but it will work really well with the Warlock Purple, I think. If I'm wrong, we'll find out here shortly. Alright. Here we go. Let's see if I mess this mouth up horribly. No, I didn't. Beautiful. Just got to be careful to get it in there and not overdo it. All right, get those mouths. Alright, you see how we got in the mouth there? You can see the red starting to show a little bit inside the skull here. Beautiful. Oops, I had it right the first time. Alright. And the thing about orcs is they's always hungry. So you never know what they're gonna chew into next. Like delicious adventurers, poor villagers in the wrong place at the wrong time. Delicious, tasty halfling. Because, you know, they like halfling. Or are they doing dwarves this time around? You never know. You guys see that on camera, okay. There we go. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and get these other guys here. Because I've got plenty of excess paint and they've got big mouths. Ooh. Testers, model, paints. Yeah, there's some things those are good for. They're oil-based. Not usually what we try to do miniatures for fantasy games and wargaming tabletop miniatures with. It's always acrylics, almost. Can you do it with oils? Absolutely, if you're a real pro. With oils, if you've got a lot of time, you can do a lot of amazing things with them, but that's a lot of extra time. Whereas acrylics, you have a little bit more control over the color and the application, I think. And they dry faster, so you can get them done quick, which is also kind of a necessity if you want to play with your miniatures on the tabletop. It's okay if I get some on the teeth of these guys, because we're going to be hitting the teeth later with a lighter color, and it'll just cover up the red. Probably have to use 2 coats to do that, only because red can be such a difficult color to cover. It's got a smaller pigment size, so it tends to show through other pigments. Okay. Anything else in red? I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Knock this out too while I'm at it. I'm not going to really show what this is for fear that you guys will leverage it. supposed to be a surprise for later. Alright, so as these orcs are drying now, we're gonna come back here with some soft tone. In just a minute, we're gonna hit a lot of different spots on the orcs, and then we're gonna go back over the mouths with some warlock purple and some pixie pink, hopefully to pick up some high points and really bring out the mouths a little bit. Alright, put that away so it's hidden away from you guys. There we go. That was Mars Red, Jansen. Thanks for asking. Mars Red is just a brighter red than some, but it's also got a bit of an oxide color to it, so it's got a little bit of orange in it. As far as reds go, it's more on the red scale than the orange scale, than the yellow scale, but it's still got just a smidge, So, okay, so looking at these, you can see the bright orange pouches. You can see the leather is highlighted and the fur as well. What we're going to do is we're going to bring that down just a smidge with a little bit of soft tone all over the leathery bits. I'm going to try not to hit the fur so much, but I am definitely going to hit the leathery bits and the pouches themselves, and also the bleach bone jaw bones that these have in the front. That will hit the recesses. It will add a little bit of a brown hint to it, and it'll really make some of the details pop just a smidge more. If you're enjoying watching what we do, or if you think some of your friends who like to paint or should learn to paint better, or maybe you can teach me how to paint better, have them join in. Watch us every Monday at 7 p.m. Alright, so let's get this started. I think for this we'll start with the jawbone just so you guys can see a little bit of what that'll do. So we're hitting the jawbone and around the teeth area. You can already see how it browned it down just a smidge. But in particular, you can see where it got into the teeth recesses, and that's the main goal. Alright, now we're going to hit this scabbard, and you can see how the scabbard has now darkened just slightly. And I'll pull out some other stuff here in just a second just to show you. And in this case, because I was using, I'm going to use a a green wash on the skin normally. But for the feet areas, I'm going to keep it nice a brown wash because it kind of shows the grime and dirt kind of well on the feet. And that's kind of what I want to show there. I want them to look a little dirtier. See, I'm getting the belt. We are doing Orcs, Arcline. Thank you for asking. Arcline just came into chat and asked if we were doing Orcs. Yes. Today we're doing the yellowed pouches, or the lighter tan pouches. And we're also doing the leather, and we're doing the mouths. And if we have time, we might do a little more on the leathery bone and the skin. Or not the leathery bone, the rusty swords and the skin. There we go. And as it dries and I get done with some more of these, I'll pull up the first one and show you one before it's dried so you can see the difference that the wash makes. And you will probably be unsurprised at just what a cool difference it can make at the detail level it pops on it. And now to hit those pouches once more. And I'm being very, very careful to make sure I get it around the crevasses, between the pouches, the underlips of the pouch flap, as well as the top of the pouches, to see where it contrasts with the belt itself. And the goal is to have each one of those crevices have some nice shading that is accentuated that much further. And it will naturally also pool around where the different snaps or buttons have been placed into these to create the effect we're looking for as well. Oh, I forgot to get his jawbone. Or maybe they came to trade. Orcs aren't always used to kill PCs. Sometimes they want to trade. Most of the time they want to kill PCs, let's be honest. They're orcs. There we go. Alright, now onto this guy. Getting the last of the wash here. Looks like I'm going to have to get a little bit more for the next one. Alrighty. 3 down, 3 to go. We're cooking. We're cooking. Just a smidge more soft tone. Yes, orcs are amazingly good at delivery. Orcs deliver arrows directly right into your body if you need them to, or other weapons as you see fit. You know, they make sure you get that delivery so you understand that, you know, they wanted you to have it. All of that weapon, all of it. Yeah, it'd be cool if Kala was on right now. Just imagine this music and orcs coming to hunt your party down. Alright. Two more to go. Our client said in chat just now he's imagining a sigh of relief from one of the adventuring parties as the hobgoblins approaching turn around suddenly, only to be replaced by massive amounts of a lot more orcs. Be like a dream out of something, was it Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where he's running after all the guys and then he has to turn around and run away from a whole lot more of them coming his way? And last one. Here we go. I'm going to take a pause and drink some of my beverage. Yanzum, to answer your question, he asked if I was going to be removing any wash or leaving it. I leave all the wash. If I need to go lighter at that point, I'm looking at highlighting. Trying to remove wash, unless you really overdid it. All you can really do at that point is just tease it back out with a brush. Especially if it's already dried, you're not going to really move it that well. And just one of the things about how washes work. So, good question. Very good question. Since washes go on thin, normally, all you can do is tease it into a thicker area. And I definitely tease it around the entirety of the model, but make sure it gets into the recesses as well. Alright. I don't know how anybody drinks 2 liters of Coca-Cola at a go while painting, but that is amazing arc line. So, letting the wash dry a bit. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to get the jawbones on 2 of these. Thank goodness we remembered. Yeah, 2 of these. Too easy. And then after that, we're going to let these dry, and I'll take any questions you guys have for a moment. I don't know that I'm going to need to break out the USB fan, but there we go. Well, here we go. And done. Alright, so we'll let these bad boys dry for just a moment. Clean out the brush, let it dry for a moment as well. Let's take a look at the opportunities here. So we've got the washes drying. Now we can look at Warlock Purple and Pixie Pink for the colors. Pixie Pink is typically what I use for, this is Pixie Pink by the way, typically what I use for the tongues of creatures like this. And then Warlock Purple is generally speaking just a good color for the inside of the mouth if you want a little bit of contrast. It shouldn't work well with the red undertone. We'll see if we need to do anything crazy past that. I don't expect that we will. It's just a great color choice to work with. So while we're at it, if I have any questions on anything I've done so far in terms of washes, washes are great because you can just tease them out into whatever you need them to be. They work really well in a pinch for a variety of different taskings. For example, the washes, usually I try to go with a color that's similar to the one I'm working with or that creates an effect that I'm looking for. Because I know soft tone has a little bit of a brownish chestnutty tone to it, I tend to use it for either browns or reds, although there is a red tone if I want a brighter punch, or I'll use a dark tone if I want it more black. But the chestnut, the soft tone chestnut is a really good color for a light muddy grime color as well on any other color for that matter. It's great on buildings, it's great on wheels for vehicles, stuff like that, but particularly around the feet and boot area if they're lighter colored feet or boots that are in the dirt and the muck and the mud. It tends to, again, pool in the crevices of the model without getting too much into the muck, and it dries at a light, thinner viscosity at the higher points of the model, thus allowing the color to show through. So, No, there's no dry brushing when it comes to these mouths. The mouths are too small to dry brush. It's not going to work. Thank you for asking that. I was just asked if I was going to dry brush the inside of the mouths. No, it's in this case we're just going to go with a detail brush or a fine detail brush and just go from there. There we go. I'm going to go with this detail brush. Excuse me. Let's see here. Alrighty. Pull up some stuff here that shows kind of what we got going on here. Alrighty. Again, we appreciate you being here. If this is your first time watching us, be sure and hit the follow button. You can check us out some more, see some of our shows as well on the rest of the week. So. Okay, the reason I like Warlock Purple is it's almost like a flesh tone purple. Really has some pop to it. And all I'm doing is just putting a thin line where the red is. So there's still red showing on the sides here. And what you're going to see is this interesting color combo. So to put it in perspective, here's one with an all red. To kind of show you the all red. You guys see that okay? Right. But then when you flip it and you add just a smidge of the pink in there, it really, creates a brighter. Let's see if I can't do this in a way that you guys can see it better. There we go. A brighter contrast that shows more and more. Here, I'll do it this way. See that? One of the things I'm going to work on, I think, for our show in the future, based on some of the feedback you guys have wonderfully been giving me, is we're going to create a little special camera setup that will be set down. I can just put the miniature right there so you can see it up close with a lot more detail. And I know exactly where to put it at that point, and it always shows the bright detail that you're looking for. And again, if you aren't following us on Twitter, definitely check us out on Twitter at The Games Tavern. And we are also at Minis Paint Show on Twitter as well. Give us a follow, and you'll see some of these miniatures posted there as well. We also post some other miniatures that are painted by some of the cast and crew. So you can see kind of how we colorize and choose to do some of the miniatures we're doing, and hopefully that provides some awesome ideas for you guys too. And we love to see everyone else's work, so when you do your stuff, if you put at the Games Tavern on Twitter or on Instagram, it will let us know, and we will see your work as well, and we, if we can, will definitely take a look at it and post it for other people to share, to see as well. We are big fans of people painting minis. There we go. I'm just going to get this big guy's mouth right here. There we go. And those are the mouths. With a not final super precise tight line of pixie pink. Once that dries, it'll really make it pop. You'll see some of the it'll almost define a tongue inside the teeth themselves, and should be an exciting look for it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit these other mouths while I'm at it, and then after that gets done, what we'll do is we'll go back and we will take a look at the teeth of those models. And once we get those teeth done, I think you'll like what we do with that as well. If you guys are stuck at home like a lot of other people are and you're looking for stuff to do, hit us up on our Discord. It's a great way to stay in touch with the community and also find out more about what's going on, and also just meet a bunch of other cool people who are also into the hobby. And you can talk shop and do whatever. Our Discord is active, and we always love to be welcoming and find new friends. You'll find invites to our Discord both in chat right now, as well as on our Twitter page and on our Instagram page. You'll find the links to go to our Discord. Takes care of that. And the only reason I'm working on these other orcs at the same time is I don't want to waste perfectly good paint. And more importantly, because she said it, Anna says if you join Discord, you can talk to her. Okay, so how are we going to do the teeth? Well, in the case of the teeth, I kind of want them not to look bright white because, let's face it, orcs aren't known for their fantastic, what's the word I'm looking for? Oral hygiene. However, I don't want them to look like you can't see them either. So we're going to use sulfide ochre as a base, and then we're going to layer that up with a little bit of skeleton bone. Just a smidge, a tap will do it. We may also be doing a few extra streams while everybody's stuck at home. I think there's an opportunity to continue doing additional paint opportunities and some other stuff too. So, since I'm stuck. All right. Now I have to work a little more closely on these because the teeth are small. So I'm using a detail brush, and if I need to, I'll even go to a smaller brush. I'll have to pull one out specifically for this, and I don't mind doing it. And these models have done a really good job at making sure the teeth are highlighted so that we can get to them without overdoing it on some other things here as well. And I'm just teasing it out on the thinnest of bits here, and I don't mind going over this multiple times with thin coats because I really don't want this to go too wide any further than the mouth itself. But you can already see the difference in the structure here of the jaw between the two miniatures, where you can see the teeth and you can't see the teeth, and that's huge. When we hit it again with a slightly lighter color, it'll pop that much more. Remember, we're working really tight, and it's okay if we make a small mistake because we can always cover it back up. I can hit a smidge of green in there and hide anything that we over splash on. So far it doesn't look like I've done that too bad. When I'm working high detail, I always put my wrists together, and that will allow me as a little more control over the brush. Just so you can see, I put my wrist together like this and then work the details. Little dab will do ya. Whoa. One of the things, I don't know if you can see it, but I actually apply the color of the brush, but then I tease it out to thin it out further. This gives me a little more control and a little less thick paint. So I'm only applying just a smidge of color to the teeth. I'm not glopping it on. It's absolutely imperative that you just don't. paint, not wanting to waste paint is a perfectly viable reason to paint lots and lots of orcs, having nothing to do with wanting to overwhelm your player characters. Well, yeah, I mean, there's different games. Like if you're playing a war game that involves orcs fighting lots and lots of orcs fighting lots and lots of humans, then yeah, painting lots and lots of orcs is great. However, if your player characters are facing that many orcs, at that point, combat sequences can become a grind, and that's not very entertaining sometimes too. That doesn't mean there can't be a lot of orcs, especially if there's a lot of players, but perspective and balance is everything. And these models are from the set called Massive Darkness. You can pick this up typically on Amazon, and the Massive Darkness set comes with a lot of models. And as a person who's got to put together a lot of models quickly for adventures, it comes with a ton of models that any good player group or dungeon master could use. Plus, Massive Darkness ain't a half bad little fun game as well. So if you want to play a board game, fantasy-based board game, it comes with some hero miniatures. It comes with dwarves, orcs, all sorts of monsters. Totally worth the money. One of my friends turned me on to the miniatures after I saw a spider. Went, "Where did you get that?" And he told me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he showed me all the other miniatures that came with it. I looked it up, and then somehow one of them wound up in my possession. I don't know how to say thank you enough for that, but one of those boxes wound up coming to us. We were excited to get that, and support of the community really helps us put together these kinds of things and allows us to show more exciting things on our streams for you. Our new battle cam is up. However, because of the recent changes in the world right now, it looks like we're changing our format slightly for a little bit, at least until the outbreak blows over, and then we will be back to our normal everybody at the table. But for now, it looks like everybody's going to be streaming from their abode and enjoying ourselves that way. Alright, so we're going to let those teeth dry. Get you a good look at some of those. Let's see here. You can see the teeth both on the bottom and the top. They really do show up well. There we go. Hopefully you can see that okay. Yeah. So Yonzum, you still working on bugbears? Oh, awesome. Awesome. Which one did you get? The Nolzur's bugbears? Which bugbears did you get? Yep. Those are some really good detailed models. I really like how those came out. Okay, so now what are we doing? We're going to use skeleton bone. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight those teeth again, but this time instead we're going to leave the roots of the teeth closer into the gum line, more yellow. We're just going to hit the high points of that. So to do that, I'm going to need a slightly different brush. Going through my brushes here real quick, I'm looking for something called the Psycho brush. I know, you guys are saying, what in the world is a Psycho brush? Well, between the Insane Detail brush and the Psycho brush, it provides a very, very, very small brush size. So I don't know if you can see this really well, but that's the size that it is compared to the one I just used on the right. So to put it in perspective, there you go. The one on the left, or my left, is the Psycho brush. The one on the right is the Detail brush. You can see the size difference in the hair follicles. Huge impact in terms of size. But it helps us get the control I need to do the touch-ups on the teeth themselves and some of the stuff that goes with that. So at the end of the show today, depending on time, we may, well, actually, I think we only got about 15 minutes left, so I'm just going to touch up these teeth and then go from there. I may discuss a little bit on cleaning brushes for those interested. We may do a little show just separately on brush care in general. So. And my only goal here is to touch the tips of the teeth, just to show the front edges of those teeth where they'd be at their brightest. But I also got to be careful to be very thin with it so that it doesn't overcome the yellow entirely. There we go. Again, we're going to also show these really well on Twitter and on Instagram. If you're not following our Twitter and Instagram, just go to @thegames_tavern and you'll see us there, and you'll be able to see these miniatures up close in still frame and get a good look at how we did it in the first place. And this is the best part about this, is it's a patience game. You can just go slow and steady and it will get done. You don't need to rush it. Take your time with it. And the great part about the yellow still being at the root of the teeth is it still shows, it may not register to most people, but it still makes the teeth look a little more sinister. And it adds a little bit of a depth to the teeth as well. don't know how you can see that, but we got all the teeth just perfect. All right. So that took care of the teeth inside the mouth itself. The impact to this is huge. In terms of the depth on the teeth themselves, it's pretty big deal. When we talk about having depth on a model using paint, the color gradient on the teeth itself can create the depth of inside the mouth versus outside the mouth itself. Further to that, we can add just a smidge of either a brown wash or a dark tone or even a strong tone wash to create an even deeper effect inside the mouth itself. I'm probably going to go with a soft tone because I still know that some of it will get inside the mouth and I still want some of those purples and stuff to show if I decide to go with a wash at all. And even if I did, I would probably go with a smaller brush in this instance so that I can get a more control over the wash itself, just to keep it around tease it around the edges and the mouth itself. One of the things I do as I start to shut down for the day is, and I don't really mention this too much, is I'll use a brush cleaner. It's one of the things that you want to try to do whenever possible to get your brushes to last a little longer. You just add it in here, swizzle it around just to get the paint on, the soap on the brush itself. I'm going to do that to every brush that I use today. Because what you want to do is this will let the hair follicles last longer. It will clean up nicely, and well, it helps your brushes last a long time. I think I've had these brushes for almost 2 years now. No problems with any of them. I'm sure we'll get to a point where one of them is going to go on me. But just the act of cleaning your brushes can prolong the life of the hair follicles themselves, as well as gets the paint out of your follicles. So one of the things you want to look into. Or gets the paint out of there. But you also want to make sure that when you do that you rinse the daylights out of it too and get them nice and cleared. You don't want to have soap in your work either. I'll go ahead and just knock them all out because I've been painting quite a bit lately, even not on stream. We just recently posted pictures of I believe it was a tiefling warlock, halfling rogue, and a traveling acolyte of Gond. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, definitely go on to Twitter or Instagram and take a look-see. Yeah. Alright. There. That is our brush soap. Now I just take all the brushes and I'm going to rinse them thoroughly by putting them in the water cup and shaking them around like they need to be beaten within an inch of their lives. I think you'll be excited to know that works usually pretty well. There we go. And then what I do is I'll pull out a clean towel, paper towel, like so, and I will wipe them all clean. And make sure they point well before I put them away. And by point, I mean I form a nice natural point with the brush before I put it down to make sure that they do that. Exceptions to that, of course, are things like dry brushes, which have a flattened end as such, These don't get pointed, but what you want to do is make sure that there's no fishtails or extra sticking out, and just have it in a good shape. And then I'm gonna really make sure that my Psycho brush is done. And then once pointed, in the case of the Psycho brush, I put the cap back on it and put it away. Again, thanks for watching us today. If this is your first time tuning in, don't forget to hit the follow button. If you like what we're doing, check us out, join our Discord, and then be a part of the action by watching our live plays every Wednesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. time zone. Alright. Any questions on cleaning brushes? Feel free to ask in chat. Again, forming a good point before we put it away. And of course, we really want to see your miniatures and see how you're painting your miniatures up. So when you get a chance, if you haven't, share it with us on Discord, on our Twitter, or you can email us your miniatures at art@thegamestavern.com, and we'll be happy to take a look-see. And if you tell us what your Twitter account is, we'll showcase your miniatures and even show everybody which Twitter account is yours or your Instagram account, and share some of your amazing stuff. For this show, we prefer to see fantasy miniatures, but share all your good stuff. It probably won't be long before we're painting sci-fi miniatures on the show too. So, alrighty. Next week, we're going to do some stone tools or some stone axes on these orcs. As well as some other metal bits, but we're not going to go through all of the same things that we did with these previous works. We're just going to wrap up some stone so you guys work on, understand how stone can be done. You'll see some of the various ways that stone can be done, as well as metals with that stone, and maybe even some other looks that you might be interested in. And then the week after that, we'll either have guests over, or we'll be painting some large monsters. So we're excited to do, I think, some giants, maybe some dragons. We'll see what we got coming up here soon. So with that, cheers. Thanks for joining us on That Minis Paint Show on the Games Tavern Network. You can check us out every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care.